All right. Randy just joined us. Hey, Billy, how are you tonight? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Oh, Dwayne, my God, I can't believe Dwayne made it. All right, so we are recording because we like to post these meetings for people who have that weren't able to be here, and it is not unusual that we will have folks from Florida to California. So it is. Said last night I was in Texas. Tonight we're doing our virtual meeting. Tomorrow night I will be in Kentucky. And I think that Friday night I'm somewhere in Florida, or Saturday I'm somewhere in Florida. So it will be an interesting 4 or 5 days where I never had to pack a bag, but I pretty much made my way across the country. All right. So for a few of you, this is your first meeting, at least the first time that I have had a chance to meet you. We always like to give you a chance to introduce yourselves and kind of tell us where you are in the process as I kind of watch for additional people to join us. So as I go across my list, it looks like, Billy, you are the first one I see that this is your first time. So introduce yourself, tell us where you're from. So we know what part of the country we're talking to, and you know, if you have filed a patent, tell us what you're working on, and if you haven't, tell us what industry you're in.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Billy Osmus, and I am in Hampton, Iowa, in the Midwest over here, and I am the inventor of the repaint tray. The repaint tray is a reusable and eco-friendly paint tray liner and lid. So it completely eliminates the need for a plastic paint tray liner altogether, because the repaint tray can be reused essentially for a lifetime. Yes, I did file a patent, and it is still patent pending. It was rejected the first time around, so it's kind of in its second round right now, which is not totally surprising. So I should be hearing about that soon. It sounds like it'll kind of be a tough process with the patent there already, because there's been previous people that have filed for something very similar, but have not gotten it either. So that'll be the tough point, is kind of showing how I differentiate from those. I am kind of in the pre-launch phase. Our official launch is February 1st. So we'll be hitting the market here really soon. And right now, everything that I've been generating for sales has been all pre-order sales, and everything has been organic thus far. It's been a long freaking journey, which I think a lot of you can relate to.
Join the club, yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to talk with other inventors.
Yes, generally years. And you know, one of the cool things about when I go and I'm listening to, you know, different speakers and talking to all the different inventors, you give me topics for the radio show for sure. So Billy, don't be surprised if you get tapped on the shoulder and said, oh, please join us, because you've got something to say that inventors all across America need to hear. One, it's so they don't feel alone. Mm-hmm. And two, so that they learn from the mistakes you made or the lessons you learned, sometimes the hard way, that you can share on, you know, different service providers, different processes that we went through, you know, different launches. I'm going to have, you know, the lady that was the head of the group last night down in San Antonio. And, you know, she was very, very good at getting her product into the marketplace and launching on TikTok, which is a very new, you know, platform, but she said she's had great luck with it. So she's going to be on the radio to tell us about how she did that and what she did. So we're looking forward to learning more about her process. So Molly Kate, you're next.
So I am at the very, very beginning stage of, like, I would like to work with my brother on building a board game, a card game. Just kind of as a family activity. And then I'd like to see the possibilities of where it could go. So that's kind of why I decided to join this group, to learn future processes that I might need later down the road.
All right. Nice to have you. Where are you from?
Utah.
Oh, excellent. Lived there for a while. I have a daughter there up in Cache Valley.
Nice. Yeah, I'm in the Provo area.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Down there in what they think of as, the second Silicon Valley.
Yes.
All right. Jefferson, introduce yourself.
Hey there. Yeah, I cannot get my camera to turn on. I'm sorry, but I'm Jeff Davis, new to this whole environment and loving it. I've been inventing stuff for like 2 months now.
You're a beginner.
Yes, exactly. But I'm going to a trade show in 2 weeks. They're in Las Vegas. The licensing, sports stuff, sports licensing, and tailgate trade show. So I'm looking forward to that, just to learn a lot and get on board.
All righty. Are you going as just kind of walking through to see what's going on?
Pretty much, yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's a good lesson. You can't sell anything.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Just because they will kick you out and then they blacklist you. So it's not a fun thing to, not a good list to be on.
Yeah, you just want to get contacts and kind of get a feel for the whole organization and how it all operates.
I usually recommend that inventors go to the show that is their industry show.
Yes, ma'am.
Not a licensing show.
Okay.
All right, and we'll talk about the difference later. Save that as a question. Jennifer, you're next. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Rena. Hi, everybody. I am joining you from Pennsylvania tonight, and I'm relatively new to product development. I have 3 provisional patents at the moment, and I'm looking to license.
All right, excellent. Glad to have you. Brendan. Brendan, you're muted.
Hello, how you doing? You hear me?
Just fine. Introduce yourself. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm Brendan. I'm from Philadelphia. I'm an independent inventor, and I'm actually starting a company. And it's just a couple questions that I need to know before kind of like, going all in on building this company as far as the inventing part.
Okay.
The patents and also the licensing part. I'm able to basically draw all my ideas and do all the brain work, but getting into the CAD and finding manufacturers to kind of get it on the market. That's the main thing.
Okay. All right. So it's nice to see all of you new guys, and it's nice to see all of you more experienced inventors. I'm not going to use the word old. So we can answer, the questions, and that way, Jenny's on the market. Scott Milne is getting ready to be on market. Scott, are you in the marketplace yet?
No, I am making and building the product, designing the product, and working with manufacturers.
All right. Andrea's getting her prototype done. Dave is in the marketplace. George is working on licensing, but his prototypes are all done. Randy is going with us to the trade show. She is getting her prototypes done with a little bit of stress. Dwayne Genslinger, he is in the marketplace and in construction and has been to the trade show with us a couple of times. So that kind of brings you up to date. Kat up there in the top corner, I'm not sure exactly where she appears on you guys's, but she's on my top corner, and she works with me. Kat is in the Pittsburgh area and also my favorite daughter. And she is not my only daughter, but my favorite one is always the one that I'm looking at any given moment. But she does help with the licensing and tracking down the contacts, works for Inventor Lady and goes with us to the trade shows. So happy to have you meet her. Anybody who has not been on the radio and would like to be on the radio and you are patent pending, please let me know. It is amazing how fast Mondays roll around and I need somebody new to be on the radio. And we talk about a whole variety of different things. And I get to pick the topic and the guests and the industry experts to be on. So yay. It's a lot of fun. We are going to ASD Market Week. It is one of the largest shows. If you have been to the National Hardware Show, and I know that's the one that we used to go to, last year they had 8,000 attendees. ASD Market Week has 30,000 attendees. and those are the store buyers, and those are who we want to meet. And they cover, you know, every retail consumer product in the country. So everything from, they say ashtrays to diamonds, but I like to think of, you know, everything from pet products and backyard grill products to fashion. So if you know, if you're getting teed up and you would like to join us, please let me know. We are filling those spots as fast as we can. And I know that Dwayne is planning on going, and Randy is planning on going. Jenny is planning on going. So by all means, get in touch and, you know, let us know. They have actually been, you know, where the National Hardware Show kicked us out because we gave the United Inventors Association too much grief and a run for their money. The ASD Market Week people are like, okay, how can we work together? And so they are actually a sponsor for the radio show now. And that has been just huge. So they are giving, you know, giving us all kinds of advertising rights at the show, and 800 square feet right across from the concession area. So, you know, that's always exciting to do. So anyway, all right, let's get down to work here. Who's got some questions? And if you don't have questions, I get to ask you the questions. Jeff, you said you had some questions about next steps for you. I'm going to let you open it up with your questions.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rita. So yes, the product I'm working on will require some licensing for the different college and professional sports. So
Okay.
that's why I'm looking forward to going to this particular trade show. But can you reveal more of the differences between the licensing show and I guess a standard trade show?
Yeah, that's a really good question. On a licensing show, it's a feeding frenzy, and you, the inventor, are the main course.
All right.
People know you're desperate because you're there. All right. When you go to a trade show that is dedicated to the buyers, that you want it to be a professional show where the buyers have to have credentials to get in. And so, you know, they are going to be the ones that are, you know, representing the different stores. Hey there. Okay, your mic is off. All right. Your mic is off.
Abby, sorry about that.
Okay. All right. So anyway, Jeff, the big thing is you want to go to the show where that would represent your product. If you got a, you know, I've been to the National Asphalt Show. All right. It was not very big. It was in a gymnasium at a school in I think Nashville at one point, but it was very dedicated to asphalt. All right. So all the products and all the buyers were dedicated to asphalt.
Okay.
We've gone to the National Hardware Show. It's basically the tools and some home stuff. ASD Market Week is geared to the buyers of the chain stores coming in to look for products and to buy products. When you go to shows that are dedicated to, you know, inventors for licensing and that kind of thing, all of the people there are generally looking to take advantage of you.
Okay. Wow.
Right. It's like going to the National Hardware Show and having them stick you in the inventor section. The ABC Kids Expo, it was off in the Tulies someplace. The one at the National Hardware Show is back by the cargo doors. And they stick the inventors off, you know, on the side someplace. You know, they sell it with the idea, it's like, oh, it's like the dairy section. Everybody's got to buy dairy, so they're going to go there. No, they don't. And generally, it's the service providers who want to sell you services. It's amazing how many patent attorneys boot up the United Inventors Association section to try to sell their services. It's like, hello, they have already filed their patents.
Yeah, right.
So that's one of the things that we've learned is that, you know, when you can go, you know, get your space and show your product and be there, you know, in, you know, an exhibit area. If you're going to spend the money, you know, do it the right way.
Okay. Wow. That's great advice. Thank you, Rita.
Yeah. Andrea, hands up.
Yeah, just a quick question. So what if there's more, if you are at this licensing per show and you get 3 or 4 people, manufacturers that all want your product, then how does it get, like, does it go just to the highest bidder? Do you say all bids have to be in on this product, or like agreements? How does that work if you get more than one and you see different aspects that you could use the product for? Like, can you?
one, you need to make sure that if you're talking to a licensee, you're talking to them about licensing. If you're talking to a manufacturer about manufacturing, they are going to make the product, ship you the pallet, and send you an invoice. If you're
And
talking,
then you have to sell it.
and then you have to sell it, and you've got to pay the invoice. So if you're talking to a licensee about licensing, they understand that they're going to make it, sell it, and send you a check.
Yeah,
And so it's really important, because it could be the same company, Andrea. It's possible. All right. But if you use the word licensing, they know the terms before you even put them in writing. Okay. So, back to then the question, if you've got 3 licensees talking to you, then it really is who offers you the best terms.
Okay. So you can't ever give it to more than one because unless they are, in other words, would they ever work together to do different facets of the product? Or like it could be used, well, you take it for that, but you can't infringe on me doing this or something.
Right. Normally what we go after, all right, is one reputable licensee to make the product. Now, sometimes if they will cover multiple industries, and not always. So then we look at having them, kind of cut out the industries or maybe a geographical location that they don't cover. Well, then you've got some options on that. You can go after a licensee for a different industry, because not every product is industry specific. David, for instance, all right, he's got a product that he thought was going to be for the bike industry, and he's finding out there's probably a better market for it in some of the trucking areas. All right. So our goal is to find somebody that does lubricants, all right, and then see how many products that they, manufacture for. And if we don't find the right group on that, then we will spin that off in the contract with the first licensee to say we can still go after licensing for a different industry.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. I mean, that's a problem we all hope to have, that 3 or 4 people want to have your product.
Exactly. And then there's times when you, the inventor, it's like, all right, well, they're not going to cover some of these areas, but you, the inventor, could actually then buy product back and go ahead and sell to a different distributor.
Oh, okay.
All right. Because then it's all about the numbers.
Right.
All right. And so then what you can do is you can buy back some inventory. Usually it's something like, cost plus 5%, and then you can resell it for whatever you can get for it.
Okay. Good to know.
Okay. So there's always options. It's really just about the different deals that you can make, and every one of them is unique. We've got basically a general starting point with an agreement, but you never know. Everyone is kind of a unique deal when it gets done.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
I mean, I've seen ones where they've actually hired the inventor to come to work for them as a salesman. So the inventor gets a royalty on every unit sold and a commission on everything he sells, and then they paid all of his expenses to drive across the country in his RV.
Wow. Well, I could do that. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. So he was a very happy camper. They loved his product. And so it just really depends on who the licensee is, what their reach is, do they cover different industries? Just depends.
Yeah. Okay, great. Good to know. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah,
Other questions? Who's got another question? Jennifer.
Thanks, Rita. Can you expand upon your approach using both the ND and C and a PPA?
Sure. Nice to see you, even with the picture from last night. And an NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. They're, like I said last night, you can get them off the internet and they all look basically the same. Where he was risky with the inventors is that he should be signing a non-disclosure non-compete. All right. And that means not only is he not going to tell, but he's not going to compete against you. Because with the industry that he is in, he could sign the non-disclosure. He hasn't told anybody, but he didn't say he would not make it himself and sell it. And where the inventors were going to him at an early stage, yeah, they should be patent pending, but where he said, well, we do the market research. Yeah, you're really letting yourself in for risk when you do it that way. We've got another inventor in California where when we talk to a licensing potential, we will actually do a non-disclosure, non-compete, non-circumvent.
Mm-hmm.
There are ways to, you know, even broaden the scope of what you are protecting yourself.
Wow. Okay. That's great.
All right. And that's why I said, it's like, you know, I one of the guys last night sent me a private message and said, okay, we need some AI to explain to us Rita's facial smirks, because there
Oh,
were
I had my suspicions. Yeah.
oh shoot, I got a kick out of that. I know who that was too that sent me that message, and it's like, well, yeah. And I started noticing myself even. It's like, okay, you need to really stop doing the I don't think that's exactly right look, because
No, it's important.
well, I told
That's why
Amy,
you're
like,
there to you know,
I
provide a different context.
yeah, you need to put me on as a speaker, Amy, because there were a lot of the things that this guy said that were very misleading.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't figure it was my place to say much, since I wasn't the guest speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Thank you.
so all right, I've got Axia 9 there. Introduce yourself. Your speaker's there. There you go.
Okay. Hi, Rita. Nice to see you again. It's been a long time. Abby Ismond. Let's see, just real quickly, we're the folks that are developing a wastewater treatment system, a novel system for doing industrial wastewater. So we're kind of in a different, you know, market kind of thing from a lot of your folks.
Wondering what happened to you.
You know, we are finding that we got some good data, just not a lot this summer, and we'll be going back to our client's location in Astoria, Oregon, and continuing our pilot system testing and data proofing. And there's some huge projects that are in the works that'll just be really exciting as showcases for our system. So we're making progress. It's just a little slower because we had to put our consulting hat back on this whole summer at our clients, because the government is issuing new permits for dischargers, and they're extremely strict with the limits for pollutants. And we just had to jump into the fray for our client as the engineering services, you know, for our client, and going to bat for him with the government. You know, the environmental. Actually, it's Department of Environmental Quality for Oregon. Those are the folks that are setting the limits under the Clean Water Act, and they're getting really strict. But it's looking like our system will do a pretty good job of meeting those limits. So it's getting really exciting. We're just a little behind. So,
well, it's really good to see you.
Yes. That's where we're at. Oh, the two Canadian patents came in. So we've got one in the US, and we've also got a continuation patent, international PCT one going. And then the two Canadian patents came in. So
congratulations.
Yeah. Exciting.
Good job. All right, Randy, do you have any questions about that you can share with questions you can share? Any questions kind of about your situation, or any experience you want to share about your situation?
God, where do I start? I don't know. Well, I mean,
Okay, let me start with
yeah.
Okay. Well, we were on a conference call this afternoon with the prototyper, who has been less than stellar, and used everything as an excuse, including the holidays, which I reminded him come every year at the same time, and so that wasn't really a good excuse. You know, he asked some questions, and so then I was explaining to Randy, and that's a good conversation then for us to talk about the differences between the design patent and the utility patent. Because that was one of the things that he brought up. And so, you know, you always go for a utility patent when you can, but there's times when you can't. All right. And so, as I told this guy this afternoon, it's like, you know, no, in fact, we just got the royalty check for a design patent that was done 15 years ago, and the company is still paying royalties on it. So does it mean that somebody can't knock it off? you know, yeah, you can fight that battle with anything. If you've got a good company, are they going to pay royalties on it as long as the product is selling? Yes, they will. A design patent is really good when if it looked differently, it would function differently. All right, so within that realm, what can you do? Well, in Randy's case, she could actually tell the attorney, it's like, all right, here's the final prototype images. And in this case, you know, they could do renderings, and you can say, okay, do 3 design patents for me, 1 with them on each end, 1 with them on 2 corners, and 1 with it in the bottom or coming from the top. It would cost as much to do 3 or 4 design patents at one time as it does 1 utility patent. And that is why a lot, you know, Apple and Samsung, they don't file utility patents anymore. They file design patents on every phone that comes out, and they will sue the daylights out of you if you infringe on them. So there are times when a design patent really can come in handy, and there's a lot of inventors who will do design patents, either when they can't do the utility, all right, or in conjunction with their utility. Now, in Randy's situation, the original attorney filed some, but there were, when we finally did the search, there were about a half a dozen things out there that just knocked her out of the water, really. They were doing exactly the same thing, but they had expired. So she's not infringing on anybody to go ahead and do it. So that means she's got to have then the design. And that, you know, we can still license it. Been there, done that, you know, it worked fine. But you can do it then from different angles. So you can do top to bottom, front to back, left to right. You can do it with the fans in different places. All right. And you can say, okay, Mr. Attorney, how do I get then, you know, different angles of this protected? And really, considering that it's basically on the drawings and some explanations, you could probably do 3 or 4 for the same amount that you'd do a utility. All right. So it's not unusual that people, when their original patent is starting to age, that they will go back and take another look. Sometimes, and this is one of the things that I have talked to a couple of you about, is to really look at paying attention to technology. And sometimes your patent may not be on your actual product. It will be on the machine that makes your product or on the process of making the product. Don't overlook that. We've got a gentleman in Colorado. He's been selling his product. It's one of the few that I know that is shipped to China in, you know, barrelfuls. But his patent is on the machine that makes the product, because he couldn't get a patent on the actual product itself. It's made, you know, made with those types of things already exist in the marketplace. But the machine that strips that pine debris into a powder, that's what the patent is on. So don't overlook. And one of the other ones is, you know, the product. We've got some guys that did a patent, and they didn't realize when their attorney did it that he isolated them to one industry, and their method could actually be used in multiple industries. So they needed to go back to the drawing board with that attorney. It's like, well, if he messed you up the first time, why would you go back to him? But, you know, that's just my 2 cents on that one. But they needed to broaden that reach, and they really needed to consider then with what it is. It's a fishing weight. Lead fishing weights will be outlawed in this country in 2025. And so they made a new fishing weight that is made out of the products in the river. So when it biodegrades, and it's not eco-friendly, it actually biodegrades and it turns back into the river that it was taken from. So it's really cool, but you could use that same type of technology on construction work, in forestry, any place where you needed a weight to hold something down for a while, but you didn't want to have to worry about coming back and getting it, and you didn't want to leave the debris in the forest. It would just biodegrade back into the forest. So their patent is not so much on the weight, but on the process of making it. But he isolated them to being just in the fishing market because of he put in actually sizes and weights of something where you should never have done that. It's like the door opened when I read it and I pointed it out to them and highlighted, and they go, oh my God, it's so obvious to us now. But they had to go back and redo some of that, which they could. They were fairly new in the filing, so they could do a CIP, a continuation in part, which is a correction or an addition to what was already filed. So Beth, it's nice to see you. Introduce yourself. Wait, you're on mute.
Hi, I'm Beth Goldman, and I actually have a few patents. And after all these years, I found a group. So I just recently got a new patent, so I'm kind of starting that.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So where are you located?
I'm just in Englewood, Colorado.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, we got a few of you from Colorado. So it's nice to meet you and nice for you to join us.
Thank you.
All right, Scott, tell us where you are in your product and what's coming up next.
Scott Millam. I'm from Conifer, Colorado. My favorite state is Utah, and I came from Philadelphia, Brandon. So I know where you're struggling and coming from. I got my patent a few months ago because my device saves energy and reduces pollution. I was able to get a speedy 6-month review. My product is now in development. I am all over Alibaba and working with factories, and I decided to make my product in various components because I'm finding specialists in the foam industry. And Alibaba's cute, man. You put in a request for quotes from 2 foam companies, and they send a little message to you and say, would you like us to send your request to others? Sure. That night you'll get 30 foam companies, sending you messages. Dear Scott, we would like to help you. Pricing components in various factories. Maybe that means I won't get knocked off as fast. But I've invented the app-driven bed warming body pillow. It will communicate to a home's thermostat when your bed gets to be warm to set back the home's thermostat, saving the fossil fuel and shifting nighttime energy over to electric.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Jenny, what's up for you next?
Hi there, Scott and Beth. I'm in Denver, Colorado. A lot of Colorado folks. I feel like a lot of you are saving the environment, and I'm just helping women from committing a fashion no-no. And I invented a bra stratoliner, but it's important. I have a provisional patent, and I'm at the stage of I have inventory. I was going in one direction, and the last virtual we had together, Rita sent me in a different direction with her contacts. Thank you for that. So all my inventory has been officially picked up and is on its way to the shipping fulfillment center that Rita recommended, and I'm about to hire a company to help with my social media that also Rita recommended. So I really appreciate that. So that's where I am with things. It's official, it's here, and I just have to figure out how to sell it.
Excellent. Good for you. And you're going to be joining us at ASD Market Week.
Yes, that's my intention.
Awesome.
Yep. I my first expo where I have a booth, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday at a bridal expo. So hoping it goes well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let us know how it goes.
I will. Thank you.
Brendan, you have any questions for us?
Yes, I do. How do
Fire away.
how do I find out about like more of the expos and like any other meetups that have to do with inventors, whereas though I can come and kind of learn the game a little bit, just so I can kind of get my products to the market. I've been kind of inventing since I was like 16 years old, and I just have a lot of stuff kind of gathered up, and I'm kind of ready to go to the next level with it. At least try to get a product out. I have a couple things in order. I draw them out. I make the numbers for them, how much things it costs. I do my research. But the next step is, of course, just trying to get the product made and have something tangible that I can kind of sell to the consumer.
Okay. So a couple of questions for you then from me. Are you looking then at licensing, or are you just going to make and sell them?
I want to actually do both.
Okay.
Because I think I need to probably gather up some more money to also put into the inventions and the products and stuff.
Okay. Well, before you put much money into a new product, the first thing you get done, the first thing you pay for is the comprehensive search. You want to
Okay.
know what else is out there for a couple of different reasons. All right. The comprehensive search needs to cover the USPTO, the international search, and also a product search. There's a 2.5-year blind spot at the USPTO. There's a year blind spot at the WIPA, the World Intellectual Property Office, the international piece of that. And the only way to squeeze it is with the product search, because a lot of people, while they're waiting for their patent to be published or even to issue, they'll put out a video, they'll go to a trade show, they'll set up a website, they might go on to Facebook or LinkedIn and start talking about their product. And so when the search gets done, it's got to include all three of those, because you then, as the inventor, you can take a look at it and you can say, okay, well, this has been done 6 different ways. I'm going to move on to my next one. Or you can say, okay, this has been done, but not exactly like mine. I've got a better way of doing it. Well, then when you go to start doing the prototype, you can look at the things that have already been done and figure out why they didn't work and how to make them better. Then you go to the patent attorney and say, okay, here's what came back in the search. Here's what I'm doing. And if he says, then at that point, it's like, you know what, you are infringing, don't even go there. Or these have all expired, you know, kind of like where we were with Randy. You can make it, you can file a design patent, but you can't do the utility patent. The more you know before you start doing your prototypes, one, the better prototype you will have, the more money you will save, and the less disappointment you will have when you find out somebody says, oh, you know, this is not going to issue because it's been done 6 times before, even though the product's not in the marketplace. Sometimes there's a really good reason why. Sometimes people just don't like that. Sometimes it's not done very well, and now you've got a better way of doing it, but the intellectual property has been filed. You know, now what? So when you start asking yourself those questions based on information you've gathered, you will make better business decisions. So that's the first thing. A good comprehensive search is $500.
Okay.
You learn a ton from it. All right. When you're ready to do one, send me an email. I will put you, give you the right information back. A good search is never done by the attorney. It's a conflict of interest. All right. And the reason why it's a conflict of interest for your attorney to do the search is because when the attorney or someone he hires does the search, he gets to frame the conversation with you. When you have the search done, you get to frame the conversation because you got the information first.
Okay.
I mean, he's all about wanting to file the patent for you. And you can't license something if you did your own patent work. Licensees, legitimate licensees don't want to deal with that. And yes, there's all kinds of books out there that you can buy for Firestarter. There's all kinds of people that will say, oh, yes, you can do your own patent. Yes, legally you can. Legally, you could file a provisional patent on toilet paper using crayons. It doesn't mean that it's going to stand up in court or that anyone wants to license it.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. Dave, fill us in on where you're at.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dave Clypatch. I actually live in Rhode Island, and I've developed a device for lubricating chains and cables. One use would be for bicycle chains, for instance, and this allows you to lubricate a bicycle chain in about 30 seconds without any dripping, any mess, and it's a job that most people don't want to do. This simplifies that whole process. And it does the same thing for metal cables, like on a tow truck cable, any kind of construction cable. The heavy duty ones probably wouldn't apply, but anything up to 3/4 of an inch. That's a very messy process where you take out a paintbrush and literally start paintbrushing the lubricant all over the place. My applicator applies it in one swipe, does about 100 feet a minute without any mess, any dripping, no cleaning up. So saves time, and it also saves about 50% on the lubricant that you're using. So I'm already in the provisional patent stage. We've gone past that, and I've actually got a website, sell sheet. I'm working with Rita right now on just starting to contact potential licensees. So that's where I am.
Yep. It's one of those, every time he shows it to somebody, it's like, how fast can I get one of these? So it's a good one. George, fill us in on what you guys have been up to, and did you ever hear back from them about getting your leashes back?
No, in fact, I sent Flexi, Kurt Decker, an email asking for it back, and I have not heard a response. And I copied you on that email.
Yes, I that's why I was wondering whether or not they responded to you.
Yeah. In the meanwhile, I am updating that patent. I did finish up an office action. I submitted that this week. So that should put me into patent pending with the Q leash. But I am going to revisit the design. There's one little quirky facet to the design that might enable it to slip off. And what this is it's a pet leash, okay? And so I'm going to redo the designs a little bit so that does not happen. So that's on the table for me to do in the near future.
Okay.
Meanwhile, yeah, go ahead. I also have, yeah, I was just going to say that, I'm taking some notes here and I'm thinking about marketing it through TikTok. Is that valid? Or Alibaba, I heard that, or LinkedIn even. I'm willing because, it's fully patented and I'd like to see if someone out there would like to take it on and license a deal.
But you don't have the product. TikTok Shop, from my understanding, is about selling product. It's a lot like an Amazon. All right. I know that Kat has been sending out your sell sheet for the Q leash on a regular basis. We've started getting some feedback on that, so we're working it.
Oh, good.
And working on the spreadsheet on the contacts. So that's probably the best way. We keep a list in your Google Drive file. So for anybody that's our licensing client, we've created a Google Drive file. So we're always looking at the same thing you're looking in. And whenever you have new material, you can put it in the Google Drive when you want to see us, and then just let me know you've updated it. And then we go after it. So I think everybody here's, at least if you're licensing or you've been to a trade show, you've got a Google Drive with us.
So one last question or comment. I'm going to call Kurt Decker at Flexi personally and see if he'll respond, and I'll ask him if he wouldn't mind shipping those back to me.
Right.
I'm not sure what the holdup is, but they're a big company. They can afford a couple of dollars there, or I could even offer to pay for it. I don't know.
Yes, no kidding, no kidding. All right, Dwayne, fill us in on where you guys are at. Dwayne? Oh, maybe he stepped away. All right. Molly Kate, you have any questions for us?
Not at the moment. Kind of observing, seeing what everybody's process is, what their hangups have been, and just learning them and absorbing.
All right. So for you guys who are just getting started, one of the things that you can do is go to the Inventor Lady website and download the Inventor's Galaxy Guide. All right, it's free. Just download it, go through it. It takes about 30 minutes. It talks about the different phases that an inventor goes through, and and where the price points swing, so you know what to expect, and then how to calculate. Are you startup mode? And I've learned that there is a difference between starting a new business and being a startup. And if anybody wants to know exactly what the difference is, I'm more than happy to tell you, because my attorney just really gave me an education. But the difference between licensing and starting a business.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And that'll help you make some plans and calculate some, spending. Scott, yeah, you have a question.
Hi, Rita. I've assembled a website. Please visit mysnoodle.com. I've named this pillow Snoodle. My intention is to try to launch in spring on Kickstarter. So I know that you're not going to be successful on Kickstarter unless you bring several hundred people with you. People who care for the product, people who care for maybe the planet, people who want a product or want a discount on the product. What is your opinion of launching on Kickstarter?
Honestly, how fast did you want to be bankrupt? Okay, and I
bring 400 or 500 interested people with me that are waiting for the launch.
Right, you've got to have them all lined up. So when I say that, I say it because I've seen so many people really mess it up because they didn't realize you have to bring the crowd with you. So you've got to have, you've got to do the postings. If you hire a marketing team, it's got to be calculated into that cost of the launch. Kickstarter is expensive. All right. You know, you've got, it's better when you actually have then your product already being manufactured, so you know it's guaranteed costs and shipping. If you're trying to raise, there's two ways to look at it. If you're trying to raise money to pay for the manufacturing, you lose. If you are raising money to make awareness of your product, you win. But you've got to have that firm cost. And where I've seen a lot of people mess up is either they didn't bring the crowd with them, they didn't understand that. Two, they didn't have fixed costs they were dealing with, and somebody raised their prices in the middle and they couldn't cover it. That they didn't calculate what should be the minimum height of the bid. And so when they go out to do that bid and then something changes in their costs, they're cutting it too close. And so then they end up not being able to either fill their orders. And once you take a single dollar from one person who has paid for your product, you are obligated to fill that order. And that's in their terms and conditions. So you've just got to be really aware. And, you know, like, oh, well, there's so many people who, you know, succeeded on this. Yes, they did succeed, but they probably did 3 or 4 campaigns and failed before they finally did the one that succeeded. And you don't get to dig down in the dirt and see what's going on. And that's kind of the misleading part of that. Crowdfunding is no longer user friendly to the little guy. There's lots of predators on crowdfunding trying to sell you services. So you've just got to be so very, very careful.
So I'm reliant on having all of you on the Zoom come to mysnoodle.com and follow my journey.
You know, if you go out you start doing some videos, you know, you've got some prototypes, start getting some feedback, you know, you launch it on the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the different social media. LinkedIn is probably not your best one on that. It's probably better sticking to, you know, the Facebook, the Instagram, some of those that are more of the fun, you know, sharing comments, and start getting that on your website. Make sure you're collecting email addresses.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Snoodle's making a splash on Instagram, and my Snoodle's available on Facebook, and people don't know what the word means. So there's some curiosity around the product, and
yeah,
but it's slow going to build the list.
Oh yeah, you're on the right track. That your patent pending, and your patent's issued, so that you can say, you know, patented. That's a big deal, and that way, then when you go out there, if you can get absolutely in writing firm costs of the manufacturing, that's the big one. Because once you've got that, and you always calculate in the cost of shipping, you look at shipping from your furthest point, you know, Florida, whatever, and then you figure that into the price, because you don't want the people to have to make 2 choices. One is the choice to buy it, and the second one is when they have to approve the shipping. Once they say, yes, I want it, you want that to be the only decision they have to make. All right, so then you got to be able to calculate getting it to Florida as well as getting it to Kentucky.
So my price on my discounted price on Kickstarter should be 0 shipping.
Right, absolutely. And so you've got to have that done. If you're going to hire, the platform's going to take a piece of you, the payment processor is going to take a piece of you, and if you hire a marketing team, they are going to take a piece of you, and their piece comes off the top. So if you don't have what's left over, the price per unit to manufacture it and ship it, they don't care. You're the one that eats it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to introduce your product somehow.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If I were in a store in the mall, that would be expensive too.
For the guys that have it lined up and know what to expect, Kickstarter is not a bad option for advertising. If you think of it as marketing and not getting money for manufacturing, you can be successful.
Thank you.
Okay, Dwayne, I see your hand up.
I can't seem to get on here, so I'm having a hard time. My reception's terrible.
Okay.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good.
Can you see us?
This is Dwayne. I'm from Colorado, and
All right. We're
I'm
not getting a
sorry.
clear message from you.
Yeah,
Something's
I know,
wrong
I'm
with your
sorry.
mic. That's all right. That's all right. Anyway, we will, if you can figure it out, then you're actually coming up on 2 different spots. So you're plugged in 2 different places.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. We're going to go on while you
All right.
think about it. Beth, you have a question.
I do. So I'm kind of like probably the opposite. So I have a utility patent. So what I have is I have a folding chair like everybody has. But when you fold it up, you hang it onto the wall onto a coat rack and nobody knows the difference. They think it's a picture frame and you can like change your pictures. But my issue is like I'm having more trouble finding good website designers and marketers. It just seems like there's so many bad people out there.
There are absolutely. So, and you kind of talked about 2 different things. Now, the person I use is Mike Green for all of my website work and all of my social media work.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't necessarily mean he's a marketing company. All right.
Okay.
Marketing companies charge you a lot of money and they've got no skin in the game. They're going to send you an invoice whether you succeed or not. So
Right.
for most inventors, social media is a better use of their marketing dollars than a marketing company. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And I would send you to Mark Green. That's who I sent Jenny to. He's very reasonably priced and he does great work. He can edit videos. He can do voiceovers, build websites, do social media. He has got a whole studio in his basement.
Oh, and where is he out of?
He's out of Denver.
Are you in Denver?
No, I'm in Eastern Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
I was in Denver for a long, long time. I was in Denver and that's how I met Mike.
Oh, okay.
That's how I met Scott and that's how I met Dwayne and everybody else from Denver. I didn't know you before I left, but anyway, but yeah, I was there for 20 years and then decided I wanted greener pastures. And so I moved to this beautiful place called Eastern Tennessee.
Okay. Because I've always done like all the marketing, all the websites, like my last invention. I don't know if you ever saw it, the bag that unzips, one zipper. And so I kind of did everything, but I happened to get lucky and people came to me to license.
Good for you, Beth. Congratulations.
So it was all kind of like a fluke that worked out really well. But now I'm really trying to figure out how to do this because this is like my baby that I invented like 30 years ago and I've been holding on to.
All right. So you're not that different than me. It's like, yes, I can do it. I just don't do it.
I shouldn't do it.
There's not enough hours in the day. I would put it on the list. Oh, don't forget to go and post these things. And then at the end of the day, it's like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
Right.
And so then when I hired Mike to start doing it, it got done. And it was really different and made all the difference in the world. So yeah, that's who I use. He works, does all the radio work for us. So yeah, he goes, the majority of my work is for you. And then he will take on and do a lot of some of the clients that I work with to get the products out there.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. And I can send you his contact information.
Sure.
Super nice guy. His wife works with him. That's how I met him, is because I knew his wife from the Denver Metro Chamber.
Oh, okay.
She was over one day and she goes, oh yeah, I got married. It's like, oh yeah, what does he do? And she said, we do social media. It's like, I need his name and contact information. So then we were off to the races.
Great. Thank you.
So anybody else have questions that they want to ask or stories they want to share? Oh, come on. You're going to make me call on you? All right. Jennifer.
Got a story.
Where are you at? All right. George has got a story. Jennifer, you can think of one.
Rita. So one of the things that got me into designing, inventing was to actually meet one-on-one with a person who was his product is very famous. His name is not understood. His name was George Hurst. He is the inventor of a product that every fire station and police station has. It's called the Jaws of Life. You've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's that tool that opens up with, instead of grinding open the side of a car or something and catching all the fuel on fire, it just grabs it and pulls it away or cuts it. Okay. I met at a party. I was only in my early 20s, and I shook hands with him. And the first thing I noticed was he was missing his right finger. So that was interesting. And we started talking about patents, and he made a lot of money, selling that very useful, very life-saving product. And so I was very impressed by that. And he was telling me some other ideas he had, which were good ideas, but too expensive to make.
Yeah.
It had to do with freeway off ramps. Anyway, long story short, it was fabulous meeting him. He was very excited, and he was truly a designer, inventor extraordinaire.
Yeah.
George Hurst.
I had a gentleman call me after he heard the radio show, and he was the gentleman who invented the mechanism that would refuel an airplane in the air.
Ooh. Okay.
And just so cool. And he worked for aerospace and, technology, airplanes. And somebody told him, and this was how I got into really focusing on, other industries. Somebody told him, don't let your attorney isolate you just to airplanes. And now his technology is being used in outer space to move fluids from one space station to another.
Wow.
Whoa.
And he earned a lot of money because he got out of the sandbox and made sure that any place where you had two objects moving and you needed to move a liquid from one to the other, his patent covered it.
Okay. Wow.
So very, very, very interesting gentleman. Very down to earth, older gentleman, 72. He goes, I've been doing this all my life, and the airplane companies have paid me just a lot of money for my ideas. It's like, well, good for you.
Wow.
Good for you. So, Jennifer, anything else for us tonight? Any other questions?
Sure. Thanks, Rita. What would you say your general approach is when reaching out to companies in terms of how often and how frequently to follow up when trying to make the initial connection with somebody?
So what we do is we work with the inventor. When we're the licensing agents, we're working with the inventor. So we want to know, who you've already contacted. So if we're reaching out and they get back to us, we don't want them to say, well, I've already talked to this guy. We want to be able to say, oh yeah, this gentleman contacted you, have you thought any more about the product? But the initial part, which is kind of the cold calling, is to go out and make contacts in the industry. And it's interesting because once we've made the contact with them, because we pay for the elevated membership on LinkedIn, we get access to all of their contacts. So if you get somebody that is in, say, the furniture industry, but they're not necessarily the manufacturers of the furniture, but they friend us on LinkedIn, or connect with us, then we can go and we can see every contractor they've dealt with, which is useful to our inventors. And then we got making contacts with them. Then we've got a sell sheet, usually video, and once they've connected with us, part of the idea is you don't want to look too desperate. So you want to be able to reach out with, say, oh, this is what we're doing, kind of nonchalant. You make the friendship and the contact. They say, oh, thanks for connecting. We say, oh, by the way, what are you guys working on? And this is what we're doing. So that it's not a desperate, oh my God, we've got to get this licensed as soon as possible. And then we start sending out, the contacts, the information, seeing what we can get. We've had, multiple ones where it's like, can you send me prototypes? And we get the inventor, say, all right, this is who's contacting us now. This is what they're asking for. We had one today that got back to us and wanted us to fill out their submission form. And, no, as soon as I got down through there was paragraph 4 and 5 that says, nope, we are not going to do this. Usually their submission form protects them. And it has language in it that says something like, well, we could be working on something like this already. So even though we're agreeing we're not going to tell anybody, if we're already working on it, we're not going to. And well, that's like a red flag going that says, oh yeah, really cool idea. And now we're going to say, oh, but we're already working on this. And they know that an inventor is rarely going to have the money to fight that infringement battle.
So the patent pending status wouldn't matter.
So when you are patent pending, as long as it is a good provisional, yes, it does matter. When it's a good provisional, you don't need to worry about it.
But
That
I'm
way
saying if you don't have the money to fight the company anyway, if they're quote unquote working on it.
If you've got, all right, we're kind of, getting around into the mud there. So if you've got a good patent and you license it to a good licensee, they will fight the infringement battle for you. And that's one of the reasons why we do a background check. One of the worst places to go is to, the car manufacturers. They're notorious for ripping off intellectual property. If you've got a new tractor, you never go to John Deere, you always go to Caterpillar. Learn some of those things. There's a tool company that goes to the National Hardware Show. They're notorious for stealing intellectual property. Go someplace else.
Wow.
But that's one of the things that we do is a background check on the licensee that we're talking to, so that we know what their reputation is.
And because I'm new and I had to step out at some point I have a puppy I'm dealing with right now. Can you just share your general categories of expertise or interest, or
I don't do
toys, or
I don't do windmills, spaceships. And the one gentleman that came to me and said, "Oh, I've got a new spaceship that's going to land in the forest, and where you can go and have a one-on-one meeting with God." I did walk away from that one as well.
fair.
So if you think big box stores, think Target, Lowe's, Walmart, Pet Boys, the pet products, any consumer products, that's our specialty. When you get into the really high tech, we can do apps when they've got hardware. So, a pet product that works, you control it from your phone, anything like that. A lot of, the tools, home products, cooking products, pet products. If you think big box store, we're covered. Now, as soon as I say that, I think of some exceptions. Home healthcare is one of the ones that we do get into. There's been some that have just been really cool, that are not normally in our sandbox, but they were game changers in an industry, and we did take them on.
Nice. That's great.
So like I said, it really just depends. As soon as I say, "Oh, we only do this," then I can think of a half a dozen exceptions. The one that we did with the girl that had the stoma, she was, home health care. And I've never done anything with a stoma in my life, but the company that licensed her product was the company that manufactures the stomas.
Right. That's great. Thank you, Rita.
You bet. Beth?
Well, I have a question, because I'd ultimately like to license my product, but at the moment, I can't afford to make molds, huge molds. But ultimately, my product would be ideal if it was, made out of like recycled polypropylene and these really cool plastic products. I guess I find that I'm having an issue maybe with trying to license it, because I guess, I haven't kind of passed many people, but it just seems like when I'm showing it as a wood product, it's very different and much heavier than it should be than as a plastic product, which I don't have, access to at the moment. And and also furniture companies aren't typically, I don't think they typically license, because typically, I don't know if you can get utility patents that often on like a whole chair. Like obviously the folding chair exists.
We've got a gentleman in Canada that did get a utility patent in the US and in, okay, Billy, it was really nice to see you. If you have any questions, give me a call. And so he did get one. It was a very unique piece he got a patent in Canada and in the US, but it was different. It was very unique. Have you tried going to, a prototyper that could do a rapid prototype for you?
Well, I have prototypes built out of wood.
But you said they were too heavy.
They're too heavy because ultimately, it works. I have a couple hanging in my house. They're super cool, but ideally it needs to be light.
Yeah, well, that's why I was thinking, well, if you did, rapid prototype, it might give you, that lighter feeling.
I guess I thought that even rapid prototyping, because mine's, I would need these big
Oh,
pieces.
yeah. Okay.
Would still just be a fortune. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I can put you in touch with a gentleman in Denver that might have some ideas for you. He's been inventing for decades. Remember in the old days when we would watch those movies about a spaceship and you'd see the control center that had all the little boxes across there, and you'd see out on a whole wall, and they had the little boxes. He actually was the inventor that got called in to build that in the real space station. So he's a pretty inventive guy. You might, have a virtual call with him. His name is Ian Osborne, and just visit with him and see if he's got any, suggestions for you.
Rena, may I help here?
Okay.
Sure, Scott.
Okay, real quick.
Sure.
I was concerned about the cost of my foam mold. The pillow is, 3 feet big, and I went to Denver or Future Foam here in Denver, and the guy's like, "Well, I might take 10 or 20 grand if you're going to make a mold." That attitude. I asked foam manufacturers on Alibaba, and I'm getting quotes for molds for $450 because they don't want to just sell me mold. They want to sell me 20,000 units of foam someday over time. So $500 for a mold, it shocked me. I know it's a little risky doing business overseas, but you can learn to do it. And Alibaba actually tries hard to protect you.
And there are different technologies now for making a mold. So certainly worth checking out. Okay, Abby?
Yeah, because I can for example, I have a 3D printer. I print this, I do the parts certain, I can do hinges and all these things on the printers. It's just when it gets really big is where the problem lies.
Yeah, talk to Ian. He pays attention to all the new technology. He may have some ideas for you. Check Alibaba. But there are new technologies for making the molds these days. So, thanks, Jennifer. Good night.
Thank you.
Abby.
Hi there. Hey, I was just wondering, Rita, are you available for a one-to-one call? I can, buy some of your time and chat about different types of licensing that in general. I know I'm kind of in a different category than what you typically, help folks with, but
no, but you got one of the cool ones.
I'm just wondering because we're about to meet with a potential partner, and I would just kind of like to have a more general background understanding of what types of licensing and sort of joint agreements are very generally speaking what's out there.
No, you cannot buy any of my time. I talk to people all the time, and I do not charge for that because that's what I do. All right. So give me a call, Abby, when you have a chance. All right. And
okay, that's marvelous.
Those things to pay attention to, what to be careful of, some of the lessons we've learned. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, thank you so much.
I mean, the basic definition of a startup is a company that got new technology. They use somebody else's money to go broke, and then they all lose. So you don't ever want to be a startup.
No, thank God these guys have been in business. We've known him for 30 years, and his business has just grown. And we think our two technologies could nicely play together out there.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Excellent. Randy.
Just a quick question. So when I come up with a name for my product, is that something that I have to have a trademark on, or how do I make sure I'm not infringing, or that name isn't already taken out there?
Okay, it's the easiest way. Okay, the poor man's trademark search. You go see if the .com is available. All right. If the .com is not available, who has it? All right, because you don't want to just change it to .net or .info. All right, and then have your product infringing on somebody else or your name infringing on somebody else. So look and see who's got it. And then you've got some options. All right. But the easiest trademark search is to do, name.com. And if it's taken by somebody, who's it taken by and what is it? And then don't do just a funky spelling of something because nobody knows to find it. All right. If you're going to name your product, what would someone Google to find you, and then add some easy adjectives to it? The one is that we did was the tag-a-beaner, okay? It was a pet tag holder. So their tagline was pet tag holder. Well, when people go to look for tag-a-beaner, the thing they Google is pet tag holder, and tag-a-beaner is what comes up. And they could not get into any of the pet aisles for their tag-a-beaner. So, you know, we talked about that and we strategized about it, and they decided they were going to go, where do most people lose their tags? At doggy daycares. And all the doggy daycares carried the tag-a-beaner. And both of my dogs still use a tag-a-beaner because it holds those dog tags in place. So there's things that you can do. We had a gentleman that did a product for hanging a door. You wanted to call it Door Dog. Well, when you Google Door Dog, 1 million doggy door sites come up. And so he got the tagline, how to hang a door.com. And so he still used Door Dog as his title, but he then came up on the first page when you talk about how do you hang a door, because that's what people Google when they want to hang a door. So there's, you know, kind of the tricks involved in it. When you come up with your name, you do not need to file a trademark. You use a TM symbol. And that's kind of your stamp of this is mine, claiming your name, and somebody else has to respect that.
Okay.
And as long as you use the TM, you're good until you license it, because a lot of times the licensee wants to put their own name on it. Well, it's silly for you to pay for a trademark if they're
Okay,
perfect. So just use the TM. Pick your name, do your search, stick a TM on there.
Great. Thanks.
You're welcome. So, Dwayne, do you just have that old hand up, or did you actually have a comment? I guess he just has the old name up. All right, guys. You know, one of the things in the announcement that we kind of wanted to talk about and what we did on the radio last week was how to not get bamboozled. And so a lot of the things that we talked about tonight are kind of little warning signs, but a lot of inventors, you're so excited about when you get started. And so when somebody says, oh, it's a brilliant idea, that's what you want to hear. So you're not always paying attention when somebody gives you some really bad advice. So always ask questions. If, you know, it's hard work getting a product into the marketplace. There is no doubt about it. It's hard work, and you know, the last thing you can afford to do is make money mistakes. And we'd heard so many people, it's like, well, you know, I paid this guy $20,000. I wrote him a check, sent it off. He closed up his doors, declared bankruptcy 2 weeks later, and I was out my money. And now I don't have any money to do my next steps. And so we hear these things on a pretty regular basis. And so it's like, be careful when you are having a prototype made. All right. And they're demanding payment. A lot of times they will demand payment up front for all of it. No, because there's reasonable guys out there where you send them half for them to get started. And before you send the second payment, you want to see a virtual presentation of the product and how it works. So you're not expecting them to send it to you without full payment, but it's easy enough to do a virtual call these days that you want to see the prototype, how it's functioning before you send them the second payment. And that is not outrageous these days to ask for. It's just like a patent attorney is going to do a draft and send it to you, and you're going to read the draft and ask questions of the draft before they send it in. They can't read your mind, and you can't read their mind, but you're expected to pay for the product before he sends it to you. Well, that's normal. All right. Same thing with prototypes. They don't get to have all their money up front. Okay. Any questions about the steps in the process? And if you have any questions, call me. I do answer my phone. Pretty regular basis. Okay. Henry, you joined us late. Tell us, introduce yourself. Henry. All right. Brendan, you have any other questions for us? You're muted right now, so unmute yourself. There you
yes,
go.
I do. I have a question. So one of my first products I'm working on right now, I wouldn't say first product, but one of the products I'm working on now is a new lip balm invention. And the first steps with that, I'm trying to see where I can find any USA suppliers instead of kind of searching for some overseas manufacturers.
You said you're trying to invent a new lip balm?
Yes, a lip balm invention, yes.
All right.
And
so are you using then OTC ingredients?
So I'm using all natural ingredients. It's not going to be the same thing that's going to be inside the natural, like chapsticks, but you know, like
Right.
the shea butter, and it's going to be more like the oil base.
All right. You can use different things, but it's going to be, you're going to have to use it as a trade secret. All right. You won't be able to file a patent on it because it's too easy. The attorneys too often put all the ingredients in it.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's like a recipe. You've got to keep the trade secret. All right. So you're going to be making it yourself. If it's something.
Well, I would say it's mainly what it comes in.
Okay.
Like the traditional, you know, chapstick holder. You know, I'm reinventing that part.
Okay. All right.
I'm tired of losing my chapstick.
All right.
So,
And that you probably could file a utility patent on. It just really depends. I've seen a lot of different ones out there. So before you put a lot of money and effort into it, and once you've got your recipe fine-tuned, you're going to want to get a search done so you know what else is out there. And the thing is that sometimes you say, oh, this one is really cool. The patent is expired. It means if the patent is expired, you can use the technology. You just can't license it to someone else.
okay.
All right. So if you're really looking at licensing, it's all about filing a new patent that has a good chance of issuing. And but if the technology has expired, the patents have expired, shoot, you can use those like crazy. And it's not, impossible to think that you take some old ones and improve on them. So having that search material come back and you say, oh, let's take the bottom of this one and the top of this one and put it together, and we've got something new.
Right.
Okay.
But it would still be a design patent, not a utility, right?
No, it can be a utility at that point.
Okay.
Okay.
A new utility at that point. You're taking other pieces and putting them together to create a new product. Okay.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right. All right, folks, don't get bamboozled out there. We will have another meeting coming up, and I hope to see all of you again. In the meantime, if you have any questions at all, give me a call, shoot me an email. I am happy to respond. And anybody wants to go to that ASD Market Week, we've still got spots open for you.
What is that?
ASD Market Week, it is, all right, affordable shopping destination is what the ASD stands for. It is the buyer's destination for all consumer products in the U.S.
Wow, where is it?
It's in Las Vegas on the 10th, 11th, and 12th, the 10, 11, 12, 13th of March, 4 days. It's a huge show. They'll have about 30,000 buyers at that show.
And they have furniture too? Do you think?
Yes.
Or is it, yeah.
Oh no. They've got everything. It's got 3 floors. Last year, the National Hardware Show had 1 floor, 8,000 buyers attended. This one's got 3 floors, 30,000 buyers attending. So it's a huge show. We're real excited. We've got 800 square feet right across from the concession stand.
Oh.
All right. So we are so darn excited to go to this show. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
And Rita,
So, and a lot of you are going to be there. What's that, George?
The Consumer Electronics Show is happening right now.
Yep.
I have 2 friends that are there, and I tell you, I've been there 3 times, and that is exciting to say the least.
Well, the one gentleman, and you may have met him, Steve Bowden, he was the one that we would ship to in Las Vegas, our products to. He's been to ASD Market Week. He was so freaking excited that we were going to that show. He goes, oh my God, I can't believe you're going. He goes, that's our favorite show. And
what's that called again? Could you give me, I'm going to write that down.
It's ASD Market Week.
ASD Market Group?
Market Week.
Okay, Market Week.
Yep.
I'm going to look that up. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time tonight, Rita.
My pleasure. So nice to see all you guys, and you take care and good luck.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.